Beauty can be light, loving and protective, yet beauty can also be dark, scary and malicious. So enjoy this week's case analysis with me, Dr. Fiona Gherkin. I specialise in dark personalities of women and the tactics they use to get what they want. Today's episode involves a discussion about homicide by poisoning and may not be suitable for all listeners. If this episode causes you distress, please seek support through a local crisis service. Today we're examining the case that captivated Australia and shocked the world. The mushroom murders orchestrated by Erin Patterson, a 50-year-old mother from Leongatha in Victoria, who poisoned her estranged husband's family with death cap mushrooms hidden in beef Wellington. This episode will summarise the case and look at the profound impacts on the victims and survivors and how Erin's actions align with the dark tetrad personality traits. Let's get into it. On July 29th, 2023, Erin invited her estranged husband Simon's parents, Don and Gail Patterson, along with Gail's sister Heather Wilkinson and her husband Ian Wilkinson, to a home in the quiet rural town of Leongatha for a lunch to discuss her supposed cancer diagnosis. Simon, who had separated from Erin amid disputes over finances and their two children's schooling, was also invited but declined, citing discomfort. What followed was a meticulously planned act of mass poisoning. Erin served individual beef Wellingtons laced with death cap mushrooms, the world's deadliest fungus, which causes organ failure and death within days. Don and Gail died on August the 5th, Heather died on August the 4th, and Ian survived after 46 days in intensive care, including a medically induced coma and organ transplants. Erin herself feigned illness, presenting to hospital with mild symptoms while eating from a different coloured plate to avoid the toxin. Police investigations revealed she had forged the mushrooms after spotting their location on the iNaturalist app, dehydrated them in a device she later dumped at a tip, and performed factory resets on her phones to erase evidence. She was charged in November 2023 with 3 counts of murder and 1 of attempted murder. Patterson's 11-week trial in Morwell's Latrobe Valley Magistrates Court ended on July the 7th, 2025, with a guilty verdict on all counts. On September the 8th, 2025, she was sentenced to life imprisonment with a 33-year non-parole period, making her eligible for parole at age 82. Let's look at the types of behaviours that Erin exhibited. Erin's actions were a lesson in premeditated deception and cruelty, blending manipulation and fabrication, and lethal execution to eliminate her targets. The poisoning itself coldly efficient. Prosecutors prove she forged death cap mushrooms on April 28, 2023, months before the lunch, using a dehydrator to preserve them, despite knowing the toxicity from her foraging hobby developed during COVID lockdowns. She finally chopped and hid them in the beef Wellingtons, ensuring her guests consumed a fatal dose. 1 mushroom can kill an adult. To lure them, she invented a terminal cancer story, sobbing during the meal about her life-threatening illness, seeking advice on telling her kids, lies she later admitted to on the stand during her trial. Post the lunch, the cover-up was ruthless. Erin faked gastro symptoms to mimic poisoning, reporting diarrhoea and dehydration to doctors while avoiding the real toxin exposure. She dumped the dehydrator, which had traces of her fingerprints and mushroom residue when it was retrieved by the police, at the recycling centre on August the 2nd. As her guests lay dying, she reset her phone 3 times, including on the day the police searched her property. During interviews, she lied about foraging, the dehydrator, and even attempted prior poisonings of Simon, her husband, with similar mushrooms. Her calm demeanour, smiling for the media outside court, contrasted the horror with no remorse shown towards the families she portrayed under the guise of hospitality. So let's look at how Erin's actions impacted the victims involved in this case. The victims suffered unimaginable agony, their final days marked by excruciating organ failure that no antidote could fully reverse, as death cap toxins destroy the liver and kidneys irreversibly. Don, Gail and Heather endured vomiting, diarrhoea, abdominal pain and hallucinations. The family could only watch helplessly. Autopsies confirmed the mushrooms as the cause of death for the 3 victims. Survivor Ian Wilkinson, a retired pastor, faced the worst. Rushed to hospital in septic shock, he spent weeks in ICU on life support, undergoing multiple surgeries, including a liver transplant, and emerging physically scarred and psychologically shattered. He testified via video link, confronting Erin in court just metres away, describing the betrayal by a woman he saw as family. The broader ripple effects devastated the Leongatha community. Funerals drew hundreds, and the trial's media frenzy, including 5 daily podcasts, re-traumatised survivors. Simon spoke of the enormous betrayal, his family torn apart, and the financial strife that may have fueled Erin's motives, leaving him and their children in grief's shadow. There is a lot of information out there on Erin and a lot of podcasts around this story. This is really just a basic overview, because what I'd like to discuss is how Erin fits with the dark tetrad traits, which are Machiavellianism, narcissism, psychopathy, and sadism. So let's look at how these traits may have manifested in Erin's web of lies and destruction. Let's talk about Machiavellianism first, which is defined by her strategy. So she really played the long game. She planned things well, from using an app to source where to forage the mushrooms to the dehydrated disposal and the digital wipes, all to evade detection while exploiting people's trust. She manipulated vulnerabilities, fabricating cancer to draw in her in-laws and extended family, showing cunning exploitation for presumed gain, possibly tied to marital disputes. Secondly, from a narcissistic perspective, her behaviour was potentially fuelled by her entitlement and deception. She admitted to the lies on the stand, yet betraying herself as a victim of panic. She demanded sympathy for her invented illness, treating others as props in her narrative. Her lack of accountability, even in testimony, reflects grandiosity with no empathy for the lives she upended and the lives that were lost. Psychopathic behaviours emerged in her remorseless detachment, calmly serving poison, faking illness amid others' agony, and showing callous behaviour. The judge at her trial inferred that she had an ongoing intention to kill. This was in part due to her prior attempts on Simon's life, her husband, where she had also tried to poison him, which underscores an impulsive, callous disregard for human bonds and human life. She also showed signs of sadism with tinges of cruelty, choosing a slow and torturous death via mushrooms that induced days of suffering, prolonged pain for her guests while protecting herself, potentially deriving control from their unwitting consumption and demise. She watched as they ate poison she knew would kill them. Although not a diagnosis, her behaviour clearly embodies the traits of the dark tetrad. This episode on Erin's mushroom murders serves as a grim cautionary tale of hidden malice in everyday life, how a simple lunch can mask lethal intent, shattering families forever. The guilty verdict and life sentence offer some justice, but the scars on the survivors like Erin Wilkinson endure, a testament to resilience amid the horror. In a statement at her sentencing, Erin Wilkinson, the remaining survivor, forgave Erin. True demonstration of faith, as Jesus teaches us to forgive the most harsh of enemies. If this story has unsettled you in any way, please seek support from a local crisis service. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. This is not the nicest case to hear about, but most people knew about this one already, and that's why I wanted to highlight it in terms of the dark tetrad traits. Don't forget to follow this podcast so that you know when I upload a new episode, and if you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, stay safe.